two that are in the seat. So you just you pull the seat back, kind of like I'm doing right now, just to see the two 5mm hex head or hex key bolts. So you loosen those. Now that I've pulled the tank up, I have access to my quick release valve, my quick shutoff valve, which is laughable, right? Because you see where it's at. It's right there when the bike is together like it's supposed to be. There's no way I could reach that from any direction. So, well, disconnect the fuel. I'm just taking off the clamp of the fuel line on this side. It goes down, loops up, it goes down and then loops back up. Okay, so I've got that clamp off where it goes down, and it looks like the fuel pump is mounted down to the bottom. So this down is mounted down below. I can't even see it. It's mounted down pretty far. But the fuel line comes out of the gas tank, and then it loops around, goes into the fuel filter, and then it goes down here into the pump, and then the line goes back up to the carburetors. So what I'm going to do right now is just shut off this fuel valve. Now it's in the off position, and should be able to disconnect this fuel line. A little bit will come out, whatever's in the filter, whatever's in the line, considering that shutoff valve is working like it's supposed to. There's also two drainage lines that, or I think one's a drain and one's a vent, but they come from up here at the very top of the, like underneath the gas cap. So if you overfill it, then it'll go down. Okay guys, we got the gas tank off, and I set it over there to the side. I actually tilted it up where the front of it is facing down, and I set the bracket where the bracket's on the ground. So that basically the back of the tank is up here, and the front of the tank is down here, sitting on the ground, and the back of it is leaning leaning gently. It's not tilted too much, but I have it tilted like that so the fuel won't drain out. This is the fuel line that goes down to the fuel pump. The fuel pump is down underneath this section. I think you would access it from the bottom. My hose clamp, you see I have it sitting there. I didn't take it off and set it somewhere. I don't want to risk losing it. These are the two drain hoses that go up to the top. One is a vent hose and the other one is a drain hose, but they both need to be connected. It doesn't matter which one because they both go down, and they pretty much ride all the way down together, and they just kind of sit at the bottom underneath the fairings of the bike. Your fuel line, where it comes up from the pump, is here. So it leaves the filter in the gas tank, and it goes all the way down to the pump, and then it comes back up this way. It goes into the carburetors. Your carburetors are there. Now if you're just taking it apart just to get to the air filter, your air filter is right here. So you have, what is this, 1 2 3 4 5 6 screws, I think. 6 screws just to take the top of this air filter off, and then that's it. Change out the air filter if you want to put in a K&N one, something like that. So that's pretty easy. That's pretty straightforward. If you're just taking the airbox off, I have 4 clamps under here, 1 2 3 4, and that's where they clamp directly onto the carburetors. There's this hose that's down here. I'm gonna remove this clamp, and then I'm gonna take it off. This is like the breather canister. So I'm going to take this off. This clamp down here that you can see, that I hope you can see. I put my hand on. You can slide that down with your hands. This other one that goes onto the airbox is one of the squeeze kind. So just do that. Slip that off. Slip that off. Set that aside. I'm taking this hose off, which is another, it's kind of another breather canister. This actually goes on to the carburetors, I believe. It's for like a fuel overflow, but this goes to the very front of the carburetors. So I'm going to take this off, and getting this airbox back on is a little tricky because you have these air induction tubes that are in the front that go into the canisters that Yamaha has so that they circulate air, right? So there's a 10mm bolt at the very front of this airbox assembly. I'm going to take that off, but I'm taking this off first to get it out of the way. You don't want to lose this screw. So what I'm doing whenever I take this screw out that holds this little canister, so I'm just going to screw it right back into the airbox. All this is going to go fast, so I mean I'm probably going to have the carburetors off in the next 5 minutes. So be patient. Impatience is not a virtue. I like saying that. Like when somebody's like driving all crazy on the freeway. Impatience is not a virtue. It's kind of the flip of the inverse of patience is a virtue. Alright. This is off, this is to the side. I wouldn't pull this off yet. I would just pull it off as one whole assembly on the hose that goes around to the front of the carburetors. I've loosened these two, wait, no I haven't. These two clamps you should be able to get to with a Phillips screwdriver. They're on the front of the airbox. You just stick I know you can't see it right now, but you stick the screwdriver down in front. Really, really fat hoses. So, loosening these 4 clamps. There's the one on carburetor 4. There's the one on carburetor 3. There's the one on carburetor 2. And the last one is this one on carburetor 1. Now with this off, there's this. Okay. These just kind of slipped off, right? But there's these 2 hoses. There's this one that folds forward. This one that also folds forward, and this is the part of this fuel overflow catch, I believe. I believe that's what that is. I'm actually not 100% sure what this is though, but it does have to do with vacuum. But whenever you're putting it back on, I know this is going to be tricky, but this hose has to go onto here. This hose has to go onto here, and these 2 were the breather, where those 2 air induction hoses go on. So that's these 2 hoses. Right? So that's that. This is easy. Like I said, air filter's inside of here if you want to change that out while you're at it.